This is me smoking from a Burt's Bees chapstick because I don't have cigarettes, sorry. Hey everyone, welcome to Plain to Champagne. My name is Haley and today I'm going to answer the question, why are French people skinny? But before we get started, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you want some more videos like this. And you can always find more information on my website at plaintochampagne.com. Now, I am no doctor, I am no nutritionist, I am no expert, I am nothing. All I can tell you is what I have seen and experienced living here for the past few months. And I'm not saying one way of living is right and one way of living is wrong. I'm just here to make the comparison and you can decide for yourself. The age-old question, why are French people skinny? First and foremost, I think that the French people just take a longer time to eat. In the United States, we're always in so much of a rush, right? You have a half-hour lunch break and you better be answering your emails during it and blah, 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 blah. Whereas in France, everything shuts down for lunchtime. Kids literally leave school for an hour for lunch to eat with their families. Their phones aren't out, they're not focused on other things, they're focused on conversation and eating their food. And if you take a longer time to eat, you'll actually usually eat less because you'll feel yourself getting full. Whereas in the United States, you only have 15 minutes for lunch, so you're scarfing down, your Big Mac or whatever else you're eating really, really quickly, and that's just not good for your health. Another thing is that the portion size is usually smaller in France. Now, I'm not saying calorie-wise that they're necessarily any different because French foods are very high in fat, but it's that fat that keeps you fuller longer. That's how they can get away with eating things like beef bourguignon or foie gras, which is literally just fat, because the portion size is smaller. They also really don't snack. I mean, in the US, I feel like everything's about snack, right? You have your breakfast, then you have mid-morning snack, then you have lunch, then you have a snack, and then dinner, and then snack, snack, snack. Whereas in France, they really just eat at their meals. So they'll eat breakfast, lunch, sometimes in the afternoon they will have goûter, which translates as snack, but just at that time, and then they'll have a later dinner around 8 o'clock. Another thing that the French do is they really focus on eating fresh. They're very, very focused on eating things from local farmers, which usually means things like less additives, less hormones, and they'll go to the market every day to get what they need. Whereas in the United States, you'll see huge, huge pantries and huge refrigerators and freezers of all this different food. In France, they usually have baby little refrigerators, and they only have on hand what they're going to use that night or that next day. Another thing is that the French people really don't believe in diets. Like when I told my French friend that I was going on a new diet for the new year, I got one of those signature French looks, like, oh, you crazy American. They don't believe in fad diets. They eat the same way all year round, no matter what it is. Whereas in America, it's like, okay, let me binge eat for these holidays, and then I'll starve myself and do a juice cleanse for a week, and then I'll just eat salads for a week, and then we go up and down and up and down, and then we're keto, and then we're gluten-free, and then we're this, and then we're that. I don't know if that's the right way to do things. I think the French, they're very stagnant in what they eat. Things don't change. They've been eating the same way for 100 years. They just have a different relationship to food. They don't use food as a reward. If you had a really great spin class, maybe you'll go have a boozy brunch with your friends and eat donuts. I don't know. We use food as a reward quite often, and I think the French people just don't have that. They will definitely savor their food. Don't get me wrong. They are very passionate about their food and they respect their food culture very much so. They just don't have as much of an attachment to food. Let's take a minute to talk about the French bread. Now, I love a good baguette as much as the next person, right? But what makes French bread different than American bread? Is the French bread healthier because they seem to all be eating baguette? It's a good question to ask, and I'm no expert, again, on this topic, but I have read a few different articles about it, so I'm just going to share with you what I've learned. Basically, American bread is made from a red winter wheat. And this type of wheat contains more gluten than other types of wheat, and it's primarily used for cost reasons. It's cheaper. And then in America, they will use a process to discard the germs in the bran because this will give it a longer shelf life. But those germs in bran are what make the bread healthier. Bran is a great source of fiber. They're the more nutritious part of the bread. But even just beyond that, on simpler terms, the bread that they're eating in France is just fresher. They are hand making this bread in boulangeries, in patisseries every single day, right? And the bread goes bad after 1 to 2 days, whereas we have bread that stays good for months. Enough with the science lesson for now. I have enough information to make a whole video on that, so please let me know in the comments if you would like to hear a video about just that. And also like this video if you've ever had a French baguette before and literally fell in love, because I think that's love of my life. I think I'm going to marry a French baguette. Another thing you gotta look at is the cigarettes. Now, I am not condoning smoking cigarettes in any way, shape, or form. I don't smoke, but it has been shown time and time again that nicotine curbs appetite. And a lot of French people smoke all day. And when you're chain smoking, you're usually not thinking about eating. And that's not every French person, of course. I'm just making generalizations right now, but that is something that can contribute to it. But you'll notice that I'm answering the question, why are French people skinny, thin? I'm not saying words like fit and strong. So do with that what you will. I also think that French people have different drinking habits. I find it more common on a Friday night that a group of friends will go out and sit at a cafe and enjoy a few glasses of wine, whereas in America, we're ripping tequila shots at the bar. Not me, I hate tequila, but you get what I'm saying. There's more of a binge drinking culture in the United States versus France. Now, don't get me wrong, they have a total club scene and they have plenty of bars that are just as poppin' as there are in the United States, but I would say in general, their goal isn't to go out and get trashed. And as we know, alcohol has a lot of calories, and when you're very drunk, what do? You eat. So why are the French people skinny? Is it one of these reasons? Is it all of these reasons? Is it 3 of these reasons? I'm not really sure. I'm just telling you what I've noticed living here for the past few months, and I do think that some of these practices are something that could be beneficial to us in the United States. I think we need to have not such a relationship to food. I think we need to take a minute to relax, to eat, and speak with other people. That will inherently make us stop shoving crap food down our throats, right? I think that's just a much better way of doing things. But at the end of the day, you gotta do what works for you, so take everything that you heard today with a grain of salt. But if you found this video interesting at all, please do subscribe below. You can always find more information on my website at plaintochampagne.com. And let me know what you thought about this video on my latest Instagram at plaintochampagne. Thank you so much for watching. Cheers.